Remember the phrase never again? I saw it growing up in the 70s, actually. There were a lot of TV movies about the Holocaust, and that's actually how I became acquainted with the worst atrocities that ever were committed by mankind, right? Never again. That was the big takeaway. And whatever happened to that? Because it's happening all over again, and everybody seems okay with it. A horrible thing. The worst massacre since the Holocaust happened just last Saturday, and we have people out on the streets supporting what happened. They support the taking of women and children as hostages. They support killing people at a concert, at a music concert, non-combatants, people not in uniform. They are okay with this, and they are rallying to their defense and saying the most vile, awful things about our friend and ally, a very special place, Israel.
Occupation is a crime! Occupation is a crime! We will never let you die! We will never let you die! We will never let you die!
Israel, we know you! Israel, we're committing genocide!
And it goes on like this, coast to coast, especially on America's college campuses. A group, Society for Justice in Palestine, more on that down the road. Remember Black Lives Matter summer? I didn't see any counter-protesters. I didn't see white supremacists pop up and say somehow that the killing of George Floyd was a good thing. Did you see that? I didn't see that. I saw all kinds of skirmishes with police. They were getting in the faces of police. But it's just interesting. There really was no counter-protest. There were no counter-protests for that. And the media, they tell us they understand just how bad this was. The worst thing that happened since the Holocaust to the Jewish people.
This is the largest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust.
What Hamas has done to Israel is the worst suffering of Jews anywhere in the world in any single day since the Holocaust.
This is the most Jews that have been murdered since the Holocaust.
I agree with all of them. I totally agree. That's true. It's historic. We know. We can look at the numbers. Then why is our entire culture trying to trivialize this, especially MSNBC, actually? Take a look. This is what they call it. Israel versus Hamas, right? The war. Israel versus Hamas. Like it's Boston versus Detroit, and it's a hockey game. This is the war on terror. Something like Israel versus the terrorists, I think, would be better. But they're not actually processing that way because they might offend the Squad, they might offend Barack Obama, and they might offend Black Lives Matter. And I have to review that for a moment. George Floyd, one man. Israel, nearly 2,000 and counting, and hostages still in custody, taking women and children. The outrage level here and the protests are bizarre, and the lack of corporate interest. You know, I really don't think corporations should necessarily have a position on politics, but this goes beyond that. And if they're going to take positions on everything, why not take a position on this, the greatest atrocity since the Holocaust? I want to show you, let's start with a few. This is Apple, right? The iPhone people. What did they say 4 years ago during George Floyd, and what are they saying about the worst things since the Holocaust?
I want to address the topic of racism, inequality, and injustice, and to recognize the pain being felt throughout our nation, especially in our Black and brown communities after the senseless killing of George Floyd.
Hey everyone, welcome to my Study With Me video. I am very excited to start studying with you guys and getting some work done. You know, a lot of people find it helpful to have someone there with them, like a study buddy.
Yeah, they got a new tutorial program at Apple. Right? Isn't this kind of pathetic and weird and maybe a little bit anti-Semitic, right? Something's wrong. How about the football, right? The NFL, Roger Goodell, look at how his heart was broken in 2020, and look at what the NFL is talking about now.
We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of Black people.
LA 28 is going to be a game changer. Maybe I'll see you there.
The NFL, for some reason, is all excited about the Olympics next year. They're promoting the Olympics next year. Hey, how about Nike, the sneaker company? They're really woke and into it, right? Remember Colin Kaepernick? He was their spokesmodel for a while. Let's look at them 3 years ago and what they're up to more recently.
You got it, I got it, we got it. Hey, you got it, I got it, we got it. Never.
Yo, word, yo, that's so cool. That shoe is so cool. You see what's happening here, right? For some reason, they just don't seem to give a damn. All about George Floyd, nothing about those 2,000 Jews and counting. Wow. Tells you where their sympathies lie. Let's go through the tweets, shall we? Tweets. They can actually put out a tweet, can't they? McDonald's 2020, Black Lives Matter. Yes, we stand with Black Lives. Trayvon Martin and the rest. McDonald's more recently. What are they telling us about? A new... Okay, Ronald McDonald is still around. Good, good. All right, let's take a look at, what is this? What company is this? Netflix. To be silent is complicit. Black Lives Matter. Okay, yes, we have a platform, we use it. Netflix 2023, now some new show they're pushing that I will not watch. I can't keep up with all these shows. All right, let's take a look at another one, shall we? Ooh, Disney. 3 years ago, we stand against racism. We stand for inclusion. This is all for George Floyd. One guy! And all these Jews get killed, and they're talking about, oh my God, another cartoon that we don't need. It's probably woke. You see how this goes? Why? Why won't they condemn? Why won't they talk about? Why won't they make it a thing like they made George Floyd? Because of these women, the squad. Yes, the Democrat Party, these 4 idiots. Well, I shouldn't call them idiots, but I wouldn't do that for now. The squad, they're morally bankrupt. They're craven. They're out of their minds, and they're socialist and they're anti-American. I take back the idiotic comment. And what gave them the impetus, the encouragement? Barack Obama. Yep. In big ways and small, he undermined this country in so many ways and made it a twisted mess, and I think he's still running the show. And who does Barack Obama listen to? One of the worst anti-Semites to ever live, Louis Farrakhan. I mean, this guy, and look at them, happy together. Can you imagine? It's incredible. And he doesn't get called on it because they actually agree with this stuff. A little bit of Louis Farrakhan and what he stands for. Louis Farrakhan on Twitter. I'm not an anti-Semite, I'm just anti-termites. Okay, Louis. Pals with the president, President Obama. And here he is, live.
And I'm here to separate the good Jews from the satanic Jews. Yes, yes, yes! So I am dangerous. Not to you, unless you feel that Father Flavor.
All right, that's enough from Louis. I want to turn the volume down. He gets really, really weird. Okay, and hateful. And this man thrives and is accepted into presidential company. Never again, they told us, never again. That brings us to Joe Biden. Didn't say the right thing for a long time, and now he's finally saying it, but saying it weakly and saying it, the way Joe Biden says things.
Mr. President, given these 2 wars and the dysfunction in Congress, are you sure that you want to run again?
Yes, because I'm sure, look, when I ran, I said the world's at an inflection point. The world's changing, but we have an opportunity to make it.
Don't you hate it when they go like this, when they listen a little bit too intently? Anyway, back to Joe.
So imagine if we were able to succeed in getting the Middle East put in place where we have normalization of relations. I think we can do that. Imagine what happens if we, in fact, unite all of Europe and Putin is finally put down where he cannot cause the kind of trouble he's been causing. We have enormous opportunities to make it a better world.
Hey, normalization in the Middle East? Putin contained in a unified Europe? What is that? Is that a fantasy? No! That's the way it was under Donald Trump. It was like that under Trump, exactly like that. All right. The 60 Minutes interview was something. Trump pointed out that the answers were provided by the interviewer in the question. Check it out.
You would like to see a humanitarian corridor that allows some of the 2 million Gazans out of the area.
Yes.
You would like to see humanitarian supplies brought into Gaza?
Yes.
He's really helping him a lot. The whole media universe helping this man. Why? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, don't they like a good story? This guy has got conflicts and corruption up to... Anyway, you saw the skill that Hamas has, right? And the equipment. Where did this equipment come from? I mean, Gaza is essentially cut off, and they don't have much of a manufacturing base. It's believed that a lot of this equipment may have come from Afghanistan. And what happened in Afghanistan? We left a lot of stuff there, a lot of weapons, a lot of equipment. Let's go through it. We left, you name the weapon system, it's probably there with the U.S. serial number on it, and now it's all over the world. $7.12 billion worth. This is from the Department of Defense, and let's break it down a little bit further. 40,000 military vehicles, 12,000 Humvees. Look, they're not just going to let this stuff sit there. Some arms merchant is going to come in and start selling this stuff all over the place, giving it away. Our enemies are in charge. They're shooting us with our own guns. They're shooting our Israeli brothers and sisters with our guns, potentially. All right, one more thing from Biden.
It makes a big difference how we end this war. And it makes a big difference to tell the American people the truth about what our options are in ending this war. If tomorrow the order goes out from I'm President of the United States, I issue an order, end the war today, begin to withdraw all American troops. It will take a year to get the American troops out. Do you hear me now? That's the truth. It will take a year to get them physically out. Now, if you leave all the equipment behind, you might be able to do it in 7 months. And you leave those billions of dollars of weapons behind, I promise they're going to be used against your grandchild and mine someday.
Did he have to get into that woman's face to make that point? What is it about him not respecting people's personal space? And what is it him not taking away that very basic kind of common sense piece of logic? Anyway, whatever he had, he lost. Whatever experience he had has been squandered and forgotten, whatever. We are in a very bad place with this man at the helm. He's going to Israel, by the way, on Wednesday. I wonder if they will, I don't know, will he help the situation? One other thing, Israel has been incredibly humane throughout all of this. Don't believe the media reports.
Good day. I'm Andrea Mitchell in Washington, where the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is worsening by the day.
No electricity, no water, no internet. We can't communicate or know what's going on. Seriously, this is not a life.
In Gaza itself, where there really is a humanitarian crisis that is unfolding because there is no fuel, there is almost no water available for people to drink and bathe with, and no food coming in through the border because of the Israeli blockade.
Humanity, humane. I want to show you again those hostages being taken, right? Turning off the water company doesn't compare to this. It doesn't. And there are stockpiles of food and water and medicine inside Gaza. The Israelis, unlike the terrorists, have told the people in Gaza what to do, where to go for food, water, and shelter from the aerial bombardment and the ground invasion. You see that? These are leaflets coming in, provided by Israel, with little messages on them telling them where to go, what to do. This is something that has been done by civilized countries for a very long time. And would a terrorist ever give the Israelis a heads up that they were coming to slaughter women and children? Of course not. But look at what the Israeli Defense Forces did.
The IDF is calling for the people of Gaza to evacuate to southern Gaza for their safety. We are calling on the residents of Gaza City to evacuate southwards for their own safety. Not just because it's international law, because it's our values, our morals, and we demand no less. Our warnings are to save Gazan civilians.
As that beautiful? That's beautiful. It's civilized. It's the right thing to do. And I admire that. The terrorists, they should get what's coming for them. The innocent, please follow the directions.